analogies or whatever that connect with them. I'm an analogy guy, so I kind of use things that they can relate to. You mentioned praying for it, or I'll take like a road trip, or even being on this podcast. Yes, I'm manifesting that I want to be on more podcasts, for example.
Sure.
But I still had to connect with you. I had to make some phone calls. I had to do some scheduling. I had to do something.
Right.
You just didn't out of the blue, hey, at Wednesday night, let's jump on a call. There was some work involved, so I figure out how it relates or how they can kind of connect with that, and then just tell them, hey, if you want something done, yes, manifest, but it's going to give you opportunities and resources to move towards that. But you have...
Awesome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of It Is What It Is podcast, man. I'm burning up. This is the second episode today. I'm super excited about this episode. I have an amazing money mindset coach. It's all about the money. CREAM, right? Cash rules everything around me. We're going to get into it about what is money mindset. How do you have a money mindset? Like, how do I get my mind fixated on the concept of wealth accumulation? But before we do that, you know what you got to do. Subscribe to the YouTube page. They got the stuff out now. It's the little hashtag. You don't even have to put the long URL. CVMK, y'all. Cody Vernon Marshall Kelly. Just put it in the YouTube. You'll find me. Instagram at It Is What It Is _show. That's the new Instagram page. Also CVMK _global, where the sports supplements are. And you connect with me at CVMK33 right on the screen. TikTok CVMK Global, and where the best supplements are: pre-workouts, proteins, BCAAs, any and all the above workout gear. www.cvmkglobal.store. And with that being said, I have with me Kenny Ingersoll. Kenny, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. No problem, man. So, to introduce yourself to the audience that might not be familiar with you, who are you, man, and what do you do?
So, Kenny Ingersoll, as you said, a little bit. I'm a husband, father, first of all, then business owner, entrepreneur, and to put it short and simple, what I do, I'm a money mindset, dream big coach, and podcast host. So I help people correct their money mindsets, remove the old stuff that's no longer serving them, put the new stuff in, get their money mindset right, start dreaming big again, and get them on their way to their goals.
I like that. Get them dreaming big again and get them on the way to their goals. That goal thing is what's up. We're going to get into it. We're really going to flesh out this money mindset methodology and really tap into it. But a quick word from our sponsors.
There's a hero in all of us waiting to be unleashed. All it takes is just that one last push. Activate the hero within with CVMK Global Supplements. All natural, steroid-free, designed to enhance performance, build muscle, and increase energy. You are unstoppable. You can do this. Become your own hero at www.cvmkglobal.store.
Yo, www.cvmkglobal.store. Hey, so money mindset. I think it's easier said than done, because if you ask the laity, if you ask novices, it's like, I just have to focus on money, right? But that can't just be it. That can't be that simplified. So for us lay people, right, that we don't know, we're not in this field, how do you help develop a client to have a money mindset?
So you start off by understanding where they are, what they understand a money mindset to be, and then get that established and corrected if necessary. Because if they're way off in left field with what a money mindset is, then we need to work on getting that corrected, and so their understanding is correct. And then you got to figure out where they want to go. because with the money mindset and their goals, I could teach you this over here, but if your goal's over here, it's not going to do any good. Or your goals may not be the same as my goals. So once you got what the money mindset establishment is, and you figure out the goals, you know how to correctly direct them and mentor them.
I like that. So, you mentioned understanding where they are, right? And creating a path forward to this destination. Is that a specific, and I hate to say it like that, is it a specific quantity? Is it like when the average customer comes to you, right? Is it like, Kenny, man, I want to be the next Jeff Bezos? What really is the conversation? Or is it like, Kenny, I just want to place my family in a good environment. I want to stabilize my economics. What would be your targeted audience?
Well, my targeted audience is, people that kind of have an understanding. They're just not quite sure how to move to the next step.
Sure.
Or they know sort of what they want to go and kind of have an idea what a money mindset is, but maybe just a little tweak. Of course I can help people that have no clue and stuff, but the targeted audience has that potential, and they're willing to put in the work. You can see their willingness to put in the work, because that requires a lot of effort. That's unfortunately becomes a downfall with a lot of people's journey, is they don't want to put in the work. They want to stay in their comfort zone bubble.
You talk about putting in the work, and I think you're absolutely right. I think what's happening, I don't know if it's a generational thing, but you hear a lot of stuff about manifesting stuff, right? You hear a lot of I won't say vernacular. I would say a lot of language around, or a lot of communication around this aspect of aspirational faith. I think that's a better phrase for it. And the notion that it can create for somebody is that if you conjure up enough sentiment, somehow this thing will majestically appear. But I feel like it robs the truth of that stance, that somehow something can act outside of you without your involvement, right? So I think a great reference is, I'm a believer, right? And sometimes I see in church that, individuals will, particularly when it comes to finances, pray for something that they're not prepared to receive. It's like, Lord, make me a millionaire, but you don't have an idea, you don't have a strategy, you don't necessarily need a degree, but you don't have anything to accumulate this resource gain, right? You just want God to just dump it in your lap. And I'm not saying he can do whatever he wants to God. But what I'm saying is, most of the time, 11.9 out of 10 times, that doesn't happen, right? So how do you have that tough conversation with a client that, not to call them lazy, but to get them to kind of shift? How do you have that conversation?
Well, I build rapport and kind of use analogies or whatever that connect with them. I'm an analogy guy, so I kind of use things that they can relate to. You mentioned praying for it, or I'll take like a road trip, or even being on this podcast. Yes, I'm manifesting that I want to be on more podcasts, for example.
Sure.
But I still had to connect with you. I had to make some phone calls. I had to do some scheduling. I had to do something.
Right.
You just didn't out of the blue, hey, at Wednesday night, let's jump on a call. There was some work involved, So I figure out how it relates, or how they can kind of connect with that, and then just tell them, hey, if you want something done, yes, manifest, but it's going to give you opportunities and resources to move towards that. But you have to make that step. You have to recognize those opportunities and resources. It may not be in big gold letters that say opportunity XYZ, So you have to maybe even back up a little bit to let's say if you did pray for the $1 million, you've also got to pray to recognize some of those opportunities that'll get you to the $1 million or whatever it is. So I try and find ways that they can relate to, if they're analogy people, or if they're, they tend towards this sort of phrasing or how they talk over here kind of thing. So that's how I have those conversations, and I'm just upfront in a nice kind of way.
I like that. I like that. Trying to assist someone in a very helpful way while still providing truth to claim and to power is definitely a approach. And I agree with you. Like, when we connected, right? I put it out there. I was like, hey, I'm looking for guests. I want to cover this. This is what the show's about. And, you reached out. I think what separates, and this is where I want to get, because you talk about the dream big attitude, is that your attitude impressed me, right? A lot of times when I connect with individuals, or when I'm attempting to connect with individuals, I used to just, take anyone. Somebody could be selling, crawfish out of their trunk, which would be disgusting if you did. I'm not saying, because I guess you could refrigerate. I don't know. I'm just saying I would not buy crawfish out of a trunk. But what I'm saying is somebody could be doing that, and I was just happy to get a guest. Now it's a deeper vetting process, because I want to make sure this person is not, a terrible individual, but at the same time, I want to align with who they are, align with their values, right? As much as I can, because I do believe people are connected, right? And I don't want to just put out, you garbage in, garbage out, right? So I want to, when you connect with somebody and the vibe is cool, and it's like, oh man, this is a really, nice person and dude, and people need to hear them, and it just clicked. But that's an attitude shift, right? And I think that's where it starts. So you mentioned this dream big, walk us through this concept of trying to get somebody to dream big.
Yeah, so again, depending on where they are, a lot of times, unfortunately, we put our dreams on the shelf. We don't see it happen, or society or somebody we love says that's never going to happen. Don't even bother trying, or things like that. And they say it with the best of intentions a lot of times, to try and save you from pain and heartache and struggle and all that stuff. But for whatever reason, outside sources cause us to put our dreams on the shelf, or really not even dream at all. We look at our bank account, and that dream of going and spending 3 weeks in Fiji goes out the window. Because we let our outside resources, outside circumstances tell us what's possible. But when we realize that we have the power and that anything is possible, then it starts to flip it, and then those resources and people and things like that we talked about a minute ago start to line up and present themselves. Again, maybe not how you thought they were, and they're not going to be carrying a sign with your name on it. Right. They start to present themselves to move you towards that goal, towards that dream. But again, going to that attitude as well, of even accepting and knowing and believing then that it is possible.
Yeah. I like that. I think it's about not getting stuck in the mud. And you're right. There's a lot of negativity. And sometimes, particularly within your close rank, if it's family, those that you closely associate yourselves with, it's really easy to get distracted and get bogged down, because what familiarity does is it gives, or at least assumingly, it gives individuals a license to critique. And the problem is people aren't static. People evolve, people grow. So you're critiquing an individual based off of information you gained at 16 or at 10, at 21. But the last 22 years of their life, you have really not been that involved with. And this is a completely different individual. But you only see the 21-year-old that you knew prior, and you think that person is still there, right? So you cast an evaluation off of old data. And that is a dangerous thing, right? Old data will make you make a terrible decision. You have to have consistent and new and revelatory information. So when we talk about connecting the dots for these individuals, right? You have met with them, you understand where they are, where they want to go. You're working with them on removing certain obstacles internally that can prevent them from moving forward. What would you say if you had to lay it out in, let's say, 3 steps, right? What would step number 1 be to moving toward that decision, moving toward that goal?
Step number 1 is deciding. Decide that you want to go for that goal and that you're committed.
Sure. How powerful is having a decision? Like, why is that number 1?
Because it's basically make or break, because if you're not decided, if you're on the fence, then any little hiccup could sway you one way or the other, or any little negative talk, could be like, yeah, you're right, it's never going to happen, and easily sway you if you're not committed, decided.
Sure.
There's many examples we could use. Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos. If they weren't decided in their mission, we would not know what Amazon is. So there's step 1, and then 2, follow your intellect, do the work, and then 3, don't quit.
So decisiveness, decision, do the work, or with the consistency of selection, and then what was the third one again? Don't quit, right? Don't quit. Don't quit. So before we get to don't quit, let's talk about do the work. Do the work is controversial. Not that it is, but it can be viewed as like an unfair critique. Do you think, in your opinion, that people honestly do the work? And then I might have a pushback for you.
I think when they do, I think a lot of people get started and then it becomes like half-hearted pretty early on. And so they're not really committed as much because they don't see instant results.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think that is fair. I think that, gradualism or gradual fatigue will set in because, there isn't an instantaneous effect, right? There isn't something that, sparks that says, this is right, I made the right decision. So you get, weary and well-doing, right? You just get fatigued to say this is not worth it, or you might drop off consistency or control. But I also think that there's a dual side to this. So I do believe doing the work, but I also think that everybody has a challenge, but not all challenges, I don't want to say that are the same, or maybe sometimes there isn't enough grace for every obstacle. Like sometimes, for whatever reason, I've learned even in my life, sometimes something can come easier to me. And even though I did the work, because initially it wasn't as hard to start, my entry wasn't as hard, it was a smoother transition. Now, that doesn't mean I was more successful, right? It was just easier to stay in it. And do you think that we provide enough professional grace toward individuals that are trying to do the work?
Unfortunately, I would say no in general if you're looking at a societal aspect.
Yeah.
Because they think of it as a sprint versus like the marathon. They didn't see the instant results, so they don't give the sufficient grace, and a lot of times it's easy to fall into those woe is me pity parties that end up happening.
Sure.
But there are quite a few people and a good portion of the population do give sufficient grace. I think it's slowly tipping back to that side where more and more people do give the grace because they're understanding it, but it's still not quite there.
I like that. That's fair. We're gonna dig into the don't quit aspect after a word from our sponsors.
I literally just tried the best pre-workout on the planet. With Superpower pre-workout, you have increased focus and a power boost every single time you work out. It's not only packed with 225 milligrams of caffeine, but it also has citrulline and creatine. It's insane how much energy and focus I had during my workouts. If you're ready to take your workouts to the next level, then ditch your current pre-workout and get the Superpower pre-workout to be your own hero.
And we're back. www.cvmkglobal.store. So, hey, that's where the best pre-workouts are. Superpower, Warrior Thirst. Get it today. Especially Warrior Thirst. People are sleeping on Warrior Thirst. Super thick creatine, transform, vegan protein. Anyway, so we're talking about don't quit, right? Don't quit is like a mantra. And it's easier said than done because for whatever reason it feels like life will throw every single obstacle it can at you to get you to quit. Some take it as motivation to continue, and then some get hit so hard they don't get back in the ring. So, do you have a case study where you worked with a client where they were at the point of quitting, and with your approach, your methodology, your teachings, they were able to continue and found success?
Yeah, oftentimes it's again maybe not quitting, but pulling back just a little bit to make a reapproach, but they needed just a small tweak, a little bit more of that encouragement, a little break, if you will. But many of my clients have been able to get back in the saddle, if you will, or get back in the ring, as you put it, and continue on. So often at times it's just a retreat to, what's the word I'm looking for? Retreat to reevaluate and then reapproach.
I like that. A retreat to reevaluate and to reapproach. In this reevaluation process, and you framed it to me perfectly, to reevaluate the why, right, or the process in general, and then to reapproach or to reapply. How does one not get stuck at reevaluating and say, screw it, I'm out, Kenny, this didn't work. I wanted to become the sandwich king or queen in the world. I wanted to create, Subway, 2.0 on steroids. Nobody's buying my Subway sandwiches, my deli sandwiches, my cold cuts. I brought in the interesting music. I brought in the cool looking sanitary new gloves. I spent all this money on the remodel and it didn't work. I've reevaluated everything. Kenny, what is that word? What is that magic phrase that you tell
them? Again, depending on where they are, but don't quit. And a lot of times I'll bring up examples like Colonel Sanders. Yeah. He went to a couple hundred or like 100 different potential investors or potential restaurants before he got anything. Walt Disney, he almost went bankrupt a few times, and now look at the Disney company today. So, oftentimes just reevaluating and stuff and giving that encouragement again. And then also knowing that a lot of times it's the market may not be quite ready, but, so sometimes they have to retry in 6 months or a year, or, maybe add a little twist that they didn't think of. So it's a lot of brainstorming, a lot of masterminding. Although a good one that I use quite a bit is like the Thomas Edison, with the light bulb.
Yeah.
He didn't fail 2,000 times. He just figured out 1,999 ways that it didn't work, but he just needed the one. So a lot of times it may come on the first try, sometimes it may come in the 2000th or 300th or whatever.
That's true. I like that. He figured out 1,999 ways for it not to work. And sometimes that is the solvent, is that now I know what not to do. And that's what makes me amazing. Kenny, I got one more question for you. Last question, man, but we're going to take a quick break, word from our sponsors, and then last question. Back day complete. With that pump, first workout of the year, New Year's happy 2022 to you. You got to get superpower only at cvmkglobal.store. You want to get your baddie on for 2022, you know where to go, cvmkglobal.store. Man, I'm about to update that commercial. That was 2022. I forgot. We're about to end in 2023 time this year. I'm about to update that commercial. Pull it from my catalog. Like, hey, I need to redo this. It's 2023 now, you know. But this is why we do this. Because like Thomas Edison, sometimes you got to figure out 1,999 ways for it not to work. But yep. that was good. That was good. That was refreshing, man. I haven't seen that one in a while. So I have all these little things. It's crazy, but okay. Back to the podcast. So Kenny, we talk about figuring out what not to do. Figuring out that failure is truly not failure. Something I've had to learn is that because it didn't go according to plan doesn't mean it wasn't in the plan, right? And
absolutely.
That's a hard lesson to learn. It's a humbling lesson to learn, but it keeps you I won't say motivated, but encouraged, right? It keeps you understanding that, okay, that hurt, that didn't quite flow right. I thought it was going to be this and it was that, but I'm still here. Great. So my question to you, and we'll end with this, and then you can tell the people where they can connect with you, where they can support you, where they can acquire your services. The world has changed, is changing. Post-pandemic, intra, however you categorize it. Different landscape, right? How important now is it for every individual to have a coach like you? And the reason why I'm asking is because I don't think we can no longer take the approach of solopreneurship, that everything is done in a vacuum. You have to bounce ideas, strategies, efforts, whatever off somebody. How important are your services?
So my services are vitally important. I'm still learning these things. And something on the topic of humbling and growing experiences, you know, even my mentors have mentors. I mean, Tony Robbins has a mentor and coach. You know, Michael Jordan has a mentor and coach. You name it, they've got a mentor and coach. So it was humbling for me and hard for me to swallow getting a coach, because I thought I had to know it all and stuff, and being okay with the fact that you don't have to know it all the time, you know, and being able to still know that you're on that journey and getting help yourself to improve yourself. But yes, getting coaching and mentorship with the right people that align with your path is crucial. Especially, like you said, in post-pandemic, you know, and it's even more convenient with today's technology too. So it makes it great.
I like it. Kenny, where can they connect with you? Where can they acquire your services? How do they reach you?
So the simplest way is through my website, ingersollenterprises.com. you could find me, all my contact info there, social media. I've got some free resources that you can download and sign up for. So that's the easiest, simplest way to find me.
Y'all, go to his website. You said IngersollEnterprises.com. Go there, connect with Kenny, download the free material, reach out to him, and say, hey, look, I need a mindset coach, a dream big coach, a money mindset coach. I need you to help me get All right, and we're back. I don't know what that was about. I was looking at the thing. I said, what is going on here? That's why I do this pre-recorded, so I can edit that stuff out. Let me try that whole last part. If you want to keep seeing amazing content, and amazing individuals like we have on today, you know what you got to do. www.cvmkglobal.store, where the best supplements are. Instagram, it is what it is. Paid, it is what it is _show. CVMK _global, Instagram, CVMK33 on Instagram. Cody's _life1, Twitter, CVMK Globe, TikTok. It's a reoccurring thing. You know what you do. Connect with your boy Kenny. Connect with me. Follow, link, subscribe. And until next time, guys, thanks. Thank you for watching. If you want to keep seeing amazing content, please subscribe at CVMK.